Thank you for the super chat, Vemasab. Arian says, could the England white ball team have better used Rashid's batting? I feel like it's a waste at times to bat him at 11, given his obvious talent. I don't think he's batted at 11 that much, Arian. He's batted at 10 a bit. But I think when he was batting at 10, they had Liam Plunkett ahead of him in the order. Trying to think if Wokes ever batted at 9. He probably didn't, did he? So I wouldn't have thought that he would have done that much from that perspective. So I have thought that Al Rashid, I probably think this was Rashid Khan, and there's someone else I think this was as well. Forgotten their name, but maybe Rashid Khan's changed a little bit of the last couple of years. But I thought certainly early Rashid Khan, and certainly think this with Adil Rashid, is that there's a bit of chaos in their batting, but they are not particularly set up to hit 4s and 6s with all the fielders out. And so the best time to use them is probably in the power play, because they hit the ball to weird areas, they swing in difficult ways, and it's really, really interesting to see how you bowl to them and how you handle it. But there is a reason why pinch hitters are not used, and that's because pinch hitters, if you were that good, you would already be batting up the order, and they usually have weaknesses, and it doesn't take long for the opposition to work out those weaknesses. And quite often, pinch hitters don't work because of the amount of dot balls that happen, because the balls aren't being put in the areas that they want. Still can cause some chaos, though, because you might have to use a bowler out of rotation that you didn't want to use. So it still does have that impact. But with Adil Rashid, I'm not sure there were any players in the batting order of England that he should be batting ahead of. He certainly wasn't a better player than Plunkett or Willie. Wokes and Curran are vastly superior to him. Moeen Ali as well. So, Liam Dawson, Samit Patel, all those guys that have come in and been all-rounders are much stronger batters than him. Could they have used him in the way that I'm talking about, Aaron? Perhaps at times. I think that's probably beyond him now. I think he was supposed to play for the Melbourne Stars when I was working for them. There was a potential that he was going to play. Well, was he going to come over to... No, he wasn't going to play CPL. So it must have been the Stars. And I had already prepared a big document about how he should bat up the order and provide some chaos. But I think with Rashid, as someone who watched him bat a lot when he was younger, the whole 10 first class hundreds thing, he's not a 10 first class hundreds batter anymore. He's way older than that now, and he's handy and he can still bat, but I've also seen him bat really poorly a lot of times as well. He's an above average number 9, which is fair. I'm not sure he's a great number 8 though anymore. When he was younger, certainly, and I think England let a talent like him absolutely waste away, and they could have developed his batting as well. I think for Yorkshire, Goffey used to bat him at 6. And you could certainly, for England, could have batted at 7 and 8 and completely changed their lineup from that perspective. So I do think that there was a problem there. But now I think he's probably, number 9 is a more than fine position for him to bat in. I'd be shocked if, I know he played well the other day, but I'd be shocked if he consistently does that. When I see him get runs now, I kind of feel that they're a little bit more lucky than when he was younger and he had a little bit more skills. And I don't know how old he is, but I'll tell you a fun story. When Brad Hogg played for Australia in 2012, and I was talking to George Bailey, and I was like, what are you doing batting Brad Hogg at number 11? For those who don't know, Brad Hogg started his career as a first-class batter. Batted number 6 for Western Australia. Eventually, the spin bowling came on much later on. And so I'm saying to Bales, what are you doing? I bat him up the order, and he said, Jarrod, he's 42. He could bat when he was, 32. Now he can barely do it. And you got to remember, if you're not a frontline batter, which Hoggy wasn't, he was he was a fringe first class batter when he was very young. Certainly wasn't that when he was probably by the age of 30. If you're a fringe frontline batter, which Amol, Desai, and I've done a really interesting thing on this, your batting is going to fall off the cliff a lot quicker. And so I would say with Adil Rashid, batting him at number 9 is probably almost a perfect position, because it means you get a very good number 9. But if you did push him up the order, I'm not sure you'd get it. But historically, I mean, I would say England wasted Adil Rashid. I went to the game in 2009. I think he smashed Australia around for 20 or 30 odd, bowled really well, took a couple of wickets, was man of the match. 2 games later, he was out of the team, and he barely played. I'm still upset that they picked Graham Swan over him, and I was wrong. Graham Swan was clearly the better spinner than him. But some of the stuff that was said about Adil Rashid, I mean, there was definitely a racial connotation to some of it, but also some of it was just nonsense. Like you'd get people saying, like really smart cricket people, writing this in major newspapers and saying this on TV and radio. He's a roller, not a spinner. What? I just watched a test match, one day where he spun the ball 9 degrees. He's not a roller. He spins the ball massively. A roller, that's Darren Lehman's a roller, right? And there was just so much nonsense spoken about him early on in his career. And I think England, I think we now know what an incredible talent they wasted. But to be fair, I'm not sure he would have fitted into some of the earlier cultures. I'm not sure he fit into the Andy Flower culture. Just the kind of cricketer he was. Not that Andy Flower would have been against him on a personality level, but you know, Stephen Finn didn't fit into the Andy Flower culture, which is why we didn't see as much of him. So from that perspective, yes, they wasted him, but I kind of think they wasted his bowling a lot more than his batting. Let me just have a look if there's any more super chats.